Welcome into Illinois in Focus Daily for this Wednesday, February 19th, 2026. I'm your host, Greg Bishop. Thank you so much for being here. And also want to remind you that we've launched the Center Square Daily, a daily national news program looking at how state houses are impacting taxpayers all across the country. So be sure to come back to the Center Square here on YouTube and soon to be everywhere for the Center Square Daily. Now, Illinois in Focus, we will obviously focus in on Illinois, and we'll do what we can to get you those regular updates throughout as we continue to develop the Center Square Daily. So very much looking forward to seeing you there as well. Be sure to tune in as we work with our reporters all across the country, delving deep into what's going on at state houses, impacting you guys, the taxpayers. All right, things we're going to be tackling today. Governor Pritzker set to deliver his budget address. It's the 8th budget address he's going to set up in an election year. And this after you've seen rather large increases of state spending year after year. So we'll tackle that a little bit here with Illinois in Focus. Republicans yesterday sounding the alarm, saying that the governor needs to focus on taxpayers. So that's what we're tackling here. All right. So stay tuned right here with the Center Square. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Each and every weekday where we can, we will wake you up with the latest here for the Center Square.
And all I'm saying is that when the 5-alarm fire starts to burn, every good person better be ready to man a post with a bucket of water if you want to stop it from raging out of control.
This is your opportunity to reset, demonstrate real leadership, and begin moving Illinois in the right direction. Elevate the tone, focus on Illinois, and speak to all taxpayers, not just one political base.
It's Governor Pritzker from last year, followed by State Representative Dan Ugasti from yesterday, as we get ready for Governor Pritzker's budget address for the state of Illinois. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, your host. Thanks for being here. And last year, Governor giving his 7th address, this year his 8th, and each year he's increased spending. Since he came into office back in 2019, spending was about $39 billion. Now it's up to $55 billion. You're talking a $16 billion annual increase, more than 40+% of an increase over the spending he had when he first came into office. And all that time as well, you've seen a slew of different tax and fee increases, corporations having to pay more, higher taxes on cell phones, higher taxes on gambling, higher taxes on gasoline. And across the board, you see different tax and fee increases over those past 7 years. So what are we going to hear in the governor's address today? Obviously, a lot of people looking forward to see what kinds of money is going to be going towards the state's debt, pension obligations, a lot of push for more education funding, how the state's going to manage federal funding and the potential savings that are popping up there. From the Trump administration for taxpayers, and looking at SNAP and other social service programs and the potential for better management with those programs. So a lot's on the table for the governor's budget address today. It's going to be at noon, and we will have live feed ready for you at thecentersquare.com. So be sure to go to thecentersquare.com/Illinois, and you'll be able to see the governor's budget address live at noon. So plug in there, but we're going to take a look here briefly at some of the things that were said last year and what Republicans are looking for the governor to address this year. So let's flash back to last year. The governor delivering his budget address, talking about a whole slew of things, but he did spend about 20 or so minutes of his speech focusing on world history and European history that led up to World War II.
I do not invoke the specter of Nazis lightly, but I know the history intimately and have spent more time than probably anyone in this room with people who survived the Holocaust. Here's what I've learned. The root that tears apart your house's foundation begins as a seed of distrust and hate and blame. The seed that grew into a dictatorship in Europe a lifetime ago didn't arrive overnight. It started with everyday Germans mad about inflation and looking for someone to blame. I'm watching with a foreboding dread what is happening in our country right now.
So the governor talking about Nazi Germany's rise and saying that he's worried about what he's seeing now. And this was just a month or so after President Donald Trump took office for a second non-consecutive term. The governor went on to talk about the Nazi Illinois rally that had a legal battle attached with it decades ago. He made more comparisons to the new administration at that time last year, and he went further to talk about more Nazi references.
It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic. And all I'm saying is that when the 5-alarm fire starts to burn, every good person better be ready to man a post with a bucket of water if you want to stop it from raging out of control.
So the governor then held a brief news conference after the speech where I was there asking questions, and my question was, how's it appropriate to compare half the country to the horrific things that happened in World War II?
How is it not an insult to half the American public who voted for Trump when you're talking about Trump being a Nazi?
Those words never came out of my mouth. That is not true, what you just said. Here is what I will say. I think it was important to talk about the destruction of a constitutional republic.
So the governor, again, that was last year. What kind of tone is he going to take this year for his 8th budget address in an election year? State Representative Dan Ugasti yesterday, the Republican from Geneva, he spelled out what he's hoping that the governor addresses this year for the budget address. And again, that budget address happening today at noon.
This is your opportunity to reset, demonstrate real leadership, and begin moving Illinois in the right direction. Elevate the tone, focus on Illinois, and speak to all taxpayers, not just one political base.
Now, State Representative Patrick Windhorst, a Republican from Metropolis, also part of that news conference yesterday, previewing what they hope to hear from Governor J.B. Pritzker's budget address today. Windhorst said that the focus needs to be on taxpayers.
Instead of focusing on property tax relief, public safety, pension stability, improving our business climate, and growing our workforce, the administration has directed billions toward programs and services of individuals who are in this country illegally, while many Illinois citizens are struggling to afford groceries, gas, and rising utility bills. Democrats have also prioritized spending on the Green New Deal, billions of dollars spent to subsidize windmills, solar panels, and electric cars. And the result has been seen our power grid threatened and the utility bills of our constituents shoot through the roof.
So will the governor address those cost of living issues, energy, higher taxes, high property taxes? Will he focus on maybe ratcheting back some of the subsidies for non-citizens in the state? Governor Pritzker's already done that. Last year's budget proposal included reducing the entirety of the HBIA program. That's the Health Benefits for Immigrant Adults program. The Health Benefits for Immigrant Seniors program continues, but that has been pulled back a little bit as well. Will the governor continue that? Keep in mind, the governor also several months ago urged state agencies to find efficiencies in the budget. All of this coming as you have the Trump administration looking to save federal taxpayers' dollars on social service programs. Like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, like a variety of other things where there could be some waste, fraud, and abuse. But the advocates for more spending includes teachers unions. The Illinois Federation of Teachers held a news conference yesterday demanding $6 billion more on top of what the state already gives to education. They want $6 billion more.
My name is Cindy Oberly-Dom. I am the IFT Executive Vice President. I am also a social studies teacher at Belleville West High School. And as Mr. Johnson said, we are here today to demand full funding for public education. That means all public education, from pre-K through PhD. Illinois owes our students over $6 billion. And this is not just in one part of the state. This is urban, this is suburban, this is rural. And our governor needs to deliver on the funds that have been promised and we have not yet received.
Now, the state is regularly every year giving $350 million more to public schools, and schools still say they're not fully funded. But the state already has the highest property taxes in the country, with your property tax bill going to fund K through 12 locally. So how do you manage those costs with other costs like pension costs, $140+ billion unfunded pension liability? A whole host of other major issues in the state's budget that need to be addressed as well. Just in the workforce, paying state employees. And how do you manage that with having to pay the pensions for people who are no longer working? And that's it takes one out of every $5. So 20% of the state's budget goes to pensions. And then you got, $10+ billion that goes to education already, with $350 million increasing each year for education. So it's going to be a balancing act. But you also have the possibility and the prospect of fewer federal dollars coming to the state of Illinois, and Illinois taxpayers having to make up the difference for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program funding. That's food subsidies for those who need it. Illinois' error rate is over 11%, and the federal government saying if you don't get that down to 6% or that below, you're going to have to make up the difference. So that could be hundreds of millions of dollars more the state of Illinois taxpayers will be on the hook to cover SNAP benefits. Here's Representative Ugasti talking about that.
The cut in SNAP is coming because we don't properly manage our SNAP accounts. It's because we have too many irregularities within our accounts that we're going to suffer the biggest hit. And that's the same for every state in the union. It doesn't matter who it's being managed by. And prior to this administration, we did much better. We would suffer barely any, if any, penalty whatsoever. So any penalty coming our way for SNAP account is because of mismanagement within this administration.
Now, that's the penalty side. The states all across the country are also being asked by the federal government to pay more for administrative costs associated with SNAP. So that's just one area where you're seeing some ongoing funding concerns. Another area, yesterday, Secretary of State Alexei Janulius, he put this statement out condemning the Trump administration's threat to cut federal funds. Janulius saying in his statement, Illinois is condemning the Trump administration's assertions regarding state's past handling of non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses, CDLs. And this is an issue we talked about on the Center Square Daily, which I encourage you to come back here for the Center Square Daily. It's a national program looking at how the Congress is impacting states and how states are impacting taxpayers. So be sure to stay tuned for the Center Square Daily each and every weekday here with the Center Square. But we talked with Alan Wooten about CDL changes and the federal government looking to shore up the non-domiciled CDL licensing. It's managed, by states and federal, policies and requirements, but the states manage it. Are the states managing it properly? Now, Illinois did get information from Illinois State Police several months ago that showed nearly 20% of the CDLs issued by Illinois, when they are state police ask about English language proficiency, 20% of those end up being issued from Illinois, where they failed the English language proficiency. So of all of the English language proficiency failures they had, about 1 in 5 were issued by Illinois. So that indicates some kind of problem. Now, does that indicate it's non-domiciled problem? Again, we need to get more information, drill down on those statistics. But to the Secretary of State. He says, according to federal guidelines, non-domiciled residents seeking a CDL must show proof of legal status in the U.S. They could present an employment authorization document or an I-94 with a valid foreign passport. In its letter, FMCSA fails to recognize an extension granted to EAD holders. Federal government's policy processing backlogged EAD renewals called for extending the validity of the existing EADs, and policy existed until October 31st, 2025. Illinois had already adopted the use of the SAVE system to verify lawful immigration status for all non-domiciled CDL applicants before the FMCSA's interim rule was announced last year. The Secretary of State's office also adopted additional safeguards to retain and validate application documents. So the Secretary of State's claiming that they're following the rules here, but they're also criticizing potential of a lack of federal funds coming to the state of Illinois to deal with CDL licensing. So that's another area where you could see some conversation about federal funding and how it's going to impact the state of Illinois. Another issue, obviously, is just the overall general politics of the state of Illinois, the environment for business, the environment for taxpayers, and people who want to leave the state. We've seen 10 years of decline in population. Up to 3 years ago, the U.S. Census saying that Illinois has gained population, but that's because of international migrants into Illinois, outpacing Illinoisans moving to other states, according to the census. But we still have not gotten back to the population pre-pandemic that Illinois had. So Illinois' population still less than it was years ago. Governor J.B. Pritzker last fall, he was asked about that sentiment of people wanting to move out of the state of Illinois, including counties all across the state, about 30 some odd counties, saying in non-binding resolutions that, they want to split the state into two, or they want to leave, have their county leave the state of Illinois. Here's the governor reacting to that in August last year.
I'm sorry that people want to make a spectacle of themselves by claiming that they're going to leave the state. Look, if you want to leave the state, I would like you to stay. I'd like you to get involved and make it a better place by working together with us. But if you want to leave, then get up and move. And there's no chance that you're going to pick up a county and have it join another state.
Now, the farmers, I don't know if they have that capability to pick up and move their land like that, but I guess, it's a sentiment that the governor shared in August. Well, yesterday on the House floor, Republican State Representative Brad Halbrook referenced that and again urged the governor to address what's impacting taxpayers with high costs in the land of Lincoln.
Struggling because of this administration's policy choices. The policies that produced outmigration will continue to produce outmigration. The budgets that have produced high taxes will continue to produce high taxes. When neighboring states draft legislation to welcome our counties, our families, our businesses, and even our football team, that is not normal. That is a red flashing warning light. Illinois does not need another record-breaking budget, Mr. Governor, and instead of telling our citizens to get up and move, we should be giving them every opportunity and reason to stay. Illinois needs a new direction, and the longer we delay that change, the more families we will watch cross the border.
Governor's speech today at noon. Go to thecentersquare.com/Illinois and get ready to watch that. We'll have highlights tomorrow here for Illinois in Focus. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and also come back here later today for the Center Square Daily. All right, I'm Greg Bishop. Thank you so much for being here each and every weekday morning. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, again, appreciate you guys being here. Didn't do a show yesterday, so those who didn't get a prompt, it's because we didn't do a live show. But again, I want to remind you, we've got the Center Square Daily. So it's a new program we're launching, and we'll continue to give you Illinois in Focus each and every weekday morning here. So be sure to tune in, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get the newsletter as well. Headlines in your inbox each day from the Center Square. We're a nonprofit newswire service focused on you, the taxpayer, and how government's impacting you day in, day out. So get headlines at thecentersquare.com. And again, don't forget the Center Square Daily right here. We'll see you soon. It is Illinois in Focus. I'm Greg Bishop. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.